Hey guys, welcome. It's Matt today, and today we'll have a special guide on positioning against assassins. So against assassins, the key is to reverse positioning. We all know that when we fight against wolves, but on top of that, the thing we want to keep in mind is there are other players out there that are not assassins. So how do you adjust for that? Let's have a look at the first position we have. Unfortunately, I was only able to find a positional simulator on a Chinese website. Over here, on the top we have a mask. Here we have the Beastmaster, Slaughter, Medusa, we have the Draw Ranger, Necromancer, the Lycan, the Doombringer, and lastly we have the Conquer. So what we have is we have the Warriors, Hunters, and Undead. This is the first position against assassins, so let me point a few things here. Over here, the main tank is on Mars. He will be tanking the frontliners for normal players, and also we have the Beastmaster and Slaughter to tank the front line. We have the Lycan over here, which he will be jumping forward at the start of the fight, so he will protect the Deucer from the side, from units that comes from the side. We have the Doom and the Conquer to defend against assassins. Ideally, they are 2-star units already, and they can actually enjoy fighting 1v1 against assassins, gaining some mana, and casting the spells off as well. We have the squishy ones in the middle, being the Draw Ranger and the Necromancer. The Draw Ranger here is likely to be 2-star or 3-star, and Necromancer is probably 2-star as well. One is a great DPS, one is a healer. The focus here is the positioning of Medusa and the positioning of the backline. Usually we have the backline in the corner. What happens with assassins is, with the new change to assassins, they delay before they jump into the battle, so they delay for a second. And that second, usually they pull our frontliners into them and they jump to the backline and take out the backlines fast. Having this particular positioning allow the Deucer to stay at where she is to have the most coverage of her ultimate spell that can stun most enemies, and also the units here will be blocking the pathway for Doom and Conquer, so they actually delay about 1 second before they jump forward. So this is quite nice because when they jump over, the Conquer and Doom is likely to face up assassins instead of a Draw Ranger and Necromancer. Looking over here, I wrote some notes for it as well. I wrote what I was saying about the blocking and about Mars, Beastmaster, and Slaughter being the frontline tanks against a normal lineup. We know there are other people other than assassin players. If we don't take the front line and the back line, we're kind of awkward here. So we know what the key units is, the Necromancer and the Draw. And we protect them because one is a damage dealer, one is a healer and a damage dealer. The key again, Deucer is here for offensive and defensive reasons. And I did mention that the 360 angle of protection, simply because she's protected on the left by the Beastmaster and Slaughter, she's protected on the front by the Mars. Lastly, she's protected by the back by the 3 warriors that's going to jump. Once they move, it's likely they move behind her and they'll protect her like 360 angles. So this is the first position I want to show you guys. Let's look at the next one. Over here, we have the second positioning against assassins. This time, we have knights and dragons versus assassins. Over here, we have a few of our knights. We have the 6 knights, being the Luna, Chaos Knight, Abaddon, Dragon Knight, Necromancer, the Batrider. Only knights over here, we have the Viper and the Puck. This particular positioning is in such a way that the Dragon Knight is the focus of this lineup. We have the outer skirts being the Chaos Knight, Abaddon for the front line against players that are not assassins. We have the Batrider and only knight over here to defend against assassins. Two things I want to highlight is the positioning of the Necromancer that allows him to heal everyone most of the time. The Luna is here that she can actually deal some damage to the frontliners, also deal damage to assassins in the back. In comparison, I wanted to protect the Dragon Knight in comparison to the Luna, because the Dragon Knight have a better chance of doing more damage with his splash damage. If it's a 3-star Luna, I might adjust him to protect her, but a 3-star Luna is also quite tanky, so it's still okay for having her over here. The Puck and the Viper dragons. Usually we get a little annoying dragon delay at the start of the game, so that the spells don't get casted right away. But in this particular case, the delay actually allows them to stay in a position before they cast the dragon spells, and because of this, when the assassin jumps forward, it's likely the only knight will be somewhere over here, and the Batrider will stay probably where he is. So it's likely we're opening up a smaller concave for assassins to surround us. And because of that, it's likely we're only facing 1 or 2 assassins, and the rest of them will be clumped over here without hitting us. That's when the Dragon Knight does his splash damage and the Luna does bounce damage. the Puck and the Viper also have a greater chance of surviving simply because they're stuck in the corner. Puck can maybe cast 2 or 3 times, and Viper have a chance of casting twice with his spell as well. And on top of that, they'll be healed by the Necromancer if they're in danger as well. Looking over here, we have some notes that I want to touch up with you guys. Is that notice if we move this entire lineup 1 row forward, the current position is to reduce the exposure of Puck and Viper. So if we move them 1 row forward, the Puck and the Viper will actually be exposed from the backline position, so they actually have no one to defend them in the backline. The assassin player can change their assassin positionings, and they can counter us if we happen to move this entire lineup 1 step forward. So let me show you what I mean by that. Over here, this is an assassin simulator I found on a Chinese website. So usually assassins do show up as this way. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at the Train Protector, Lone Druid, Morphling, Viper, Queen of Pain, Bounty, Morphling again, Templar, and Phantom. So I did this random draft. Usually assassins line up like this. When the enemy jumps forward at them, those 2 units usually be tanking, and the rest of assassins will jump forward. Now, if the enemy want to target us in a particular formation, they might change the formation into something like this. If over here we had our units moving forward 1 lineup, the Luna will actually be susceptible for the melee assassins coming at here and the range assassins behind the melee assassins. So this is what we don't want to do. But as an assassin player, if you're playing against a lineup that's moving the good units forward, what you can do is you can have your melee assassins in the front line, being the Phantom Assassin and Bounty Hunter. You can also place your range assassins behind them, being Viper, Templar, and Queen of Pain. What that does is it allows you to burst down the front line with some lucky critical hits. If you have a Razor, you can also stone the front line with Morphling and Razor. I also added a Mars here for the assassin lineup for a bit of tankiness. The Mars is just here to tank, he's not here to provide the god reduced CD. Back over here, we also mentioned that we denied the assassin players positioning against us. As we saw over there, if they park the melee assassins in the front of Luna and park the range units behind the melee units, they can take out on Luna if the Luna is positioned 1 step forward. So we don't want to take too much step forward, we want to stay over here in this particular ball. The DK, the Dragon Knight, is our main focus, and he can do some great splash damage. We touched about the Dragon Knight, Puck, and Viper staying where they are because they are dragons. They're going to delay with the casting at the start of the round, which actually benefits us because assassins jumping, we're perfect position against them. So the last thing I want to show you guys is to be aware. In this particular positioning, if the enemy has Enigma, we might want to split up because as the dragons, as the knights, Enigma really punish us. The pure damage AoE really punish up the grouping as well. The trade-off is, are we strong enough against most players in this ball formation, or are we weaker? If we're weaker, we want to be splitting. If we're stronger, we're happy to take the off chance of losing to Enigma, but we're happy to have the higher chance of winning against other players. Over here, we have our 3rd positioning against assassins. What we have is, here is the Disruptor, Conquer, Morphling, Medusa. We have the Keeper of the Light, Crystal Maiden, Razor. We have the Doom, and we have the Slaughter. So we have those units positioned for a few reasons. We have the humans as Conquer, Crystal Maiden, and Keeper. They can be silencing 3 front lines in front of them. That is in front. We have the Conquer and Disruptor position, so they are our key initiators. One will silence the enemy, while one will actually have AoE stun and damage. We can see something very common as before, simply because on the first positioning we did have the Doom and the Conquer in the backline. Here we have the Doom and the Slaughter in the backline. The highlight for this particular elemental mage is that the Morphling and the Razor can actually stone assassins and the frontliners as well. Positioning the Morphling over here allows him to hit the front line if there's one, so he'll actually stay where he is, and if there are other enemy front lines coming through, he will be able to tank for the Keeper of the Light and the Crystal Maiden. He will also be able to stone them with a given chance for the elemental stoning. Similarly, the Razor will be over here. It's likely he jump forward from the side of the Deucer, that he will become an off tank for the Deucer from the back. Having the elementals allow the Razor to stone assassins coming from the back as well. So the Razor and the Deucer will actually have the best chance of hitting their spells to the front line and the back line of assassins. Similarly, Razor have a chance of hitting his spell to the front line and the back line. Now the good thing to know is that the Slaughter and the Doom will be jumping forward. They'll be blocked by the Keeper and the Crystal Maiden. So they try to adjust the AI, they jump forward on the side, so they become the supportive tanks for the Razor. So we don't want Razor to be focused on by assassins. We want the Doom and the Slaughter to be jumping next to the Razor, so we actually have a small concave of defense lineup. This way we have a chance of not dying too quickly with our units and get their spells off. The preference of having the Doom in the corner is so that he can enjoy the Crystal Maiden aura. Maybe he'll survive a little longer for a higher chance of Doom to be casting his spells multiple times in a fight. We know that Doom is nerfed after the recent patch with the Doom, but he's still quite strong as a 2-star unit that disables a unit for 15 seconds while casting, and the damage can be relevant as well. Lastly, the highlight of Medusa. I like this particular positioning for offensive and defensive reasons. She can be gaining damage by attacking enemy front lines. She can be receiving some front AoE damage, but she's not susceptible for a focus damage because the Conquer Disruptor is tanking on the front line. The Morphling and Razor is tanking the backline. Also, the Doom and Slaughter protects her from the backline against assassins as well. Usually against assassins, if your Deucer or if your controller can get the spells off, once you control them for 2 or 3 seconds, you realize how squishy the assassins are, and that's when our Keeper can cast multiple spells as well. Looking over here at the notes, yes, we did mention that this is Elemental Mage lineup, and we're capitalizing on the Elemental tanks over here. The Razor positioning is as an off-tank AoE. The Doom and Slaughter are the backline tanks against assassins. And things I want to highlight in this particular patch is because of the removal of Slug, the developers have increased the power of 2 Nagas, because you can only have 2 Nagas as a combination. So the 40% magic resistance with 2 Nagas is very relevant, even against assassins. Because in case you guys weren't aware, Queen of Pain, Morphling and Viper deal a lot of damage not through physical attacks, but through magical attacks. And because of the short CD they have, sometimes they're able to do 2 spells or even 3 spells at level 3. So this is why Nagas can be useful against assassins as well, although assassins mainly do physical damages. The Keeper of the Light is protected by the lineup for the highest chance of hitting multiple targets and for him to survive long enough to cast a second spell. Having the Crystal Maiden, she is a last line of defense for the Keeper as well. Usually we can see the Keeper casting once or twice. So likely the assassins are concaved over here. Once they jump in, the Keeper can cast a spell directly this way or directly to the front line. Surviving for long enough, he can cast 2 spells first. To summarize today's positioning against assassins, something I want to highlight is the particular positioning and choices of units are quite tanky in terms of physical defense. Here we have the Warriors, we do have the Undead and Hunters for the DPS of damage. Over here we have the Knights, which are generally pretty tanky. We have the Undead, we have the Dragons to provide the damage. And lastly, we have the Mages and Warriors. Again, we have something that with a physical armor to protect ourselves against assassins, because with physical armor, the criticals will be hurting us less, and having physical armor and a lineup of damage dealers is great in any matchup. Because of the heavy uses of assassins, we have focused the usage of Warriors and Knights for this particular reason. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this particular assassin guide summary for positionings against assassins. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this particular summary, and let me know if you have any further questions on assassins and lineups against assassins. Thank you so much guys for watching. Please share, please subscribe, and please like the video. And if you want to support us on Twitch, please come over on your spare time, say hi, follow, and use your Twitch Prime here. Thank you so much guys. I'll see you guys on YouTube next time.